Hey you guys, good morning. It's Monday. Today's morning devotion is from Genesis chapter 21, verses 22 until the end, which is verse 34. And it's talking about how Abraham is in the land, and Abimelech, the leader who was in the land when Abraham came in, they end up making this treaty, this oath, that Abraham dug a well so that Abimelech's people won't try to steal the water anymore. And they agree to treat each other nicely. Really, Abraham agrees to treat Abimelech nicely because Abimelech realizes the favor that is upon his life by God. And yeah, we know God is famous for some hostile takeovers, right? But this is not really one of those. I think it shows just the peace that can exist. And then in the end, I feel like Abraham and God are just on the same page and are just playing like this long game right now. And yeah, so the part that really stuck out to me and that kind of blew my mind is they're living in like this dry, arid place, and clearly water is an issue, right? So they just make this treaty, this oath to protect the well that Abraham dug so that he'll have water for his people. But then Abraham decides to plant this tree. It's called a tamarisk tree, and he has a moment with God. He calls on the name of the Lord. He calls him Eternal God. So it's like Abraham plants this tree, and this is a tree, it requires a lot of water, right? But I think this tree is not just something that doesn't make sense. And I feel like once we're walking with God, and Abraham has been walking with God long enough now to see like, yo, God, you just gave me the son that I didn't really think was ever going to come. Like, surely you can make sure there's enough water for this tree and me and all the descendants you're going to give me. So it's like, once we're walking with God, like we can start doing, or we might start doing some things that don't necessarily make sense all the time. But then it's like, not only did he plant a tree that requires a lot of water in a dry and desert-like place, but then I had to look up, like, what is a tamarisk tree, really? And I'm just going to read you one of the things that said on some government website. It says, tamarisk is one of our most harmful invasive species because the plant's long roots tap into underground aquifers. Over a period of years, the plant effectively changes the natural chemistry of the soil. Native trees and plants can no longer thrive in the salt-saturated soil. Y'all, that blew my mind. It's like this tree is a representation of Abraham, exactly who he is and who he is going to be. This tree is an invasive species. Abraham is coming into a land that is not his own, and his descendants will take over. That promised land will be occupied by the very people that God said it's going to be. And then, like, we are called to be salt in this earth. The tree is drawing on the salt, and other places, other plants and species can't survive because of the salt that this tree is bringing in. I feel like, yeah, we're supposed to go put our roots down in places and then change the culture of the environment. I'm like, yo, this tree is lit. This tree is such a great representation of Abraham and who God is calling him to be and what he's going to do. Abraham put his roots down, and he's like, look, we're in this thing for the long haul. He calls God the first time Eternal God. I'm guessing, sensing like this enduring nature, like for eternity, God, like your word is true. What you say is going to be fulfilled. And yeah, I feel like that's exactly what we need to do. We might need to ask God to reveal to us, God, what is our thing that represents who you're calling us to become, and familiarize with that. This tree is freaking awesome. Let our roots go down deep, tap into the water, the living water, and let's change the nature of the environments that we are planted in to be more salt-saturated, salt, the truth, the word of God, so that the things that are natural, the things of this world, the things of the enemy will not be able to thrive where we are planted. You guys have a great day. Bye, y'all.